one comment was, you got in because they had to fill a quota for females. And it stuck with me for a bit, especially going back into the imposter syndrome. Do I deserve to be in this room? Grit, resilience, no matter how much you fall, because failure happens, it's a given, but you want to make sure that you're able to get back up.
What is the single biggest lie the corporate world today tells young Muslims?
Working hard and hoping someone notices is not enough. Don't sacrifice your morals and values. Everything has been provided to us by Allah at the end of the day, never forgetting who put you in the position that you're in today.
Assalamu alaikum, Sara. Welcome to the Muslim Game Changer podcast.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Thank you so much for making the time. For the people who are not aware, there is a snowstorm in Toronto and you still made it to the show, so we are extremely grateful. I want to start at the very beginning of your journey, which is an impressive one. It all started at Waterloo Software Engineering. I think it rings a bell. It is known as one of the most rigorous environments for software engineering in Canada, maybe in North America. What is the mindset that is needed for somebody to thrive in such an environment, a demanding environment, but also of high intensity?
I would say the one thing that is needed for Waterloo Software Engineering, to look back, it's been a few years now, but the one thing has been, honestly, grit and resilience. I know I gave two words there, but they're both just as important. And the reason for that is, no matter what, nothing stops for you in terms of the workload, in terms of a lot of the other responsibilities, because it wasn't just getting the classwork done. It was also at the same time, we had a co-op system, which meant you had internships with other companies. And because of that, you had to consistently, 1, apply for jobs, 2, build your network, 3, do all these different courseworks. You had assignments on assignments, midterms, exams. It's very difficult to balance everything at once. At the same time, you want to make sure you have a social life. So you're not just in your room or in a library just studying consistently or just grinding consistently. You had to balance all of these different things. And at the same time, as a Muslim, balancing my faith on top of that, which meant balancing prayers, my relationship with God, a lot of these things at the same time, it was a lot. So the one thing I would say is grit, resilience, and knowing, 1, having belief in God in the first place. And then 2, just no matter how much you fall, because failure happens, it's a given. It always happens, no matter what stage you are in life. But you want to make sure that you're able to get back up and continuously work your way towards reaching that success. It's not you make one good thing and all of a sudden you're successful. It's 1% every single day. And as you continuously build yourself up, inshallah, you'll find success through there.
Inshallah. What made you choose software engineering in the first place? What is the story behind that choice?
Oh, what made me pick software engineering?
Yeah.
So honestly, I'd have to thank my uncles for that. So for me, I had my uncles that I grew up around. One of them, I call it all-in-one engineering because he really did it all. MashaAllah, he did it all. He learned how to build and fix cars, basically fix cars. He also learned, he played around with his Raspberry Pi, building computers, building software. He really did it all, mashallah. And on top of that, his background is in civil engineering. So I call it the all-in-one engineering. He can also repair things, build houses. I was surrounded through that technology. At the same time, my mom, she was actually also in tech. My other uncle, he was into cryptocurrency and video gaming. So as you can see, my life kind of surrounded tech in a way. So it only made sense that I ended up pursuing software engineering. The thing is that I took a computer science course. This was back in high school. And it was just to try it out. I always wanted to try out computer science. And so eventually, when I got to do it, building a software, and it was just really fascinating because you have what was just an empty notepad. It's just empty, and then you fill it up with code and you build something out of it. It was that builder mindset, and there's builder mindsets everywhere, but I really liked how you're able to build software from what was just essentially nothing and then actually turn it into a proper application. I wanted to do more of that. I wanted to do more building, so that's why I picked software.
Actually, you were deep in the code, deep in software engineering. You were living your best life, and then you chose to pivot to another role, which I will leave the suspense. What inspired this pivot? What is the fundamental truth that inspired you to have this mental shift that operated before?
Switching from software engineering to, I'll spoil it, it's product management.
Very good.
So what led to that shift? So I would say it's through, I have to thank Waterloo for this, honestly, but it's not just Waterloo, it's whatever program that a person's in, whatever university they're in. Like the one thing, no matter what, is just try something new. And that's the one thing that we're taught consistently. Don't just pick something and then just keep going with it. Try out other things. You never know what you might actually end up liking. So, for example, some of my friends, they would go and pick product design. They like the creative side more, so they wanted to do product design. Some of them went into quantitative research because they really liked the math behind it. So for me, I tried out, I actually met someone who did product management before, and this was at one of my internships actually. And it was interesting because you don't get to see the business side that often in school. In school, you're just taught, okay, build this, learn this code, learn this algorithm. So you don't really get to see the business side of it all. So I got to shadow him for a little bit, and I'm super grateful that he let me shadow him because I got to learn about different things, such as things that customers are looking for, things that bring potential revenue. So a lot of these business terms everyone's already so familiar with. Me being in first year, my eyes were sparkling at that point. I was like, wow, this is so cool to see that. So at that point, I tried it one more time, software development, because I wanted to pick between the two. And that's totally fine to do that, to pick between the two and see, is this something I really want to do, or do I want to try this? And I got to try that in a startup environment because you wear multiple hats in one role, which was fantastic. So I got to do that for a little bit. Eventually, at that point, I tried out to build a specific project. So I built a specific project, and I got to act as both the developer and product manager for it in a startup environment. I first identified, while talking to an internal employee at the time, to understand what their pain point was. And after I had a conversation with them, I realized this is a very strong pain point. I need to go to my manager and have a conversation and see if this can be an actual idea. So I go and I pitch the idea to him, and he says, okay, yeah, go ahead. So I went and I built a team of developers and designers. We went ahead, had conversations with our internal users, and then actually built it out. So I acted as both the software developer and the product manager for that project, which was amazing. Getting to work with my team was honestly fantastic. And so got to launch it in beta. And from that point on, launching, which was just a concept, into an actual, this is a beta, a product that's going to be used, it was amazing. It was honestly eye-opening for me, realizing that, you know what, software engineering is nice, but I do want to pivot to product management because the business side is something that really fascinated me a lot. So that's what led to the switch. And then fast forwarding, it's something I kept doing over time, but I just tried it with different industries because, again, wanting to try out different things no matter what. So I wanted to try fintech for a bit. I wanted to try the cloud industry for a little while, and then eventually went into data, and now being more on the automation and AI side. So trying out different things, learning new skills, consistently learning and getting out of your comfort zone is the most important thing.
This is amazing because it progresses from just your parents, for instance, in our community telling us do something, some stereotypes of being an engineer, being a doctor, being a lawyer. You had a process of trial and error, trying to see if something matched with what you wanted or not. And throughout that process, with co-op, with internship, with shadowing, you managed to take, hopefully, the best decision because right now you feel very passionate about. I think you don't regret that choice, right?
No, I don't. I think it was, alhamdulillah, the best choice that I made.
Alhamdulillah. Actually, it comes to my topic that you have a pattern at Waterloo Engineering Society, I believe, MAX, which I talked about last time, Muslim Achieving Excellence, but also at IBM. You don't just participate in initiatives, you actually end up leading them. I wanted to know if this is a conscious strategy of yours or if this may be a complete lucky hazard. Tell me about it.
Interesting enough. For me, yeah, and I'm going to tie it back a little bit to being in university, but I kept myself always busy. Like, I tried to do as much as I could because, one, it's doing the work that I needed to do, but at the same time balancing it with things that fulfill you. Like that, I don't want to say social life, but you need to find things that also fulfill you at the same time, because that's at the end of the day the meaning of one of the many meanings of life. If you just do one thing, what else are you doing that's for the benefit of the world or the benefit of growing a community, whatever it might be, that's fulfilling for you. So in university, I tried to take part in as many extracurriculars as I could while still balancing the entire workload. So product management club at the time, working with the team there. Hopefully I didn't spoil anything. But also other things such as like a tech club, but also at the same time being part of intramurals if I could. But fast forwarding to now, in terms of Max, it was actually something I found right after when I graduated university and just started my full-time job. And so I was figuring out things at work, but at the same time, I wanted to give back to the community. And I know a lot of people think you have to be a certain age to give back to the community. There's no specific age, there's no specific time. There's no timeline of when you have to give back or when you need to do something. You can always do it now. You always have something to give, mashallah. So think with that mindset, and that's what I did with Max. And alhamdulillah, got to meet some amazing people, got to do some amazing events and give back to a community, an entire Muslim community. So it was very amazing.
I can totally relate. Actually, I love that answer. I can totally relate. If I can share something about me actually on this one. This whole idea of Muslim game changers was born in a hamburger place in Paris. I was in a burger place with my best friend, who will probably see this episode, and he was telling me, I was so happy to tell him about my achievements. This is what I've done. I'm moving to Germany at the time. I was moving to Germany for work. I was so happy to tell him about everything that has been going on in my life. At some point, he's somebody that will challenge me. And he said to me, but what are you doing for the community? It's time. And you know, the very important thing that I get from your answer is that we sometimes tell ourselves we have to reach a certain level, a certain age, a certain this or that to give back to the community. But maybe the freshman in uni can inspire tremendously the person in high school. So I feel that it's so true what you just said. Actually, moving to a very important aspect, this whole show, I'm trying to move from a beautiful conversation, inspiration, because you are all of those, and Kareem before embodied all the other guests. I'm trying to move to a playbook. How do I get from one place to the other? You alluded to this before when you said through the process of trial and error, doing co-op, internship, shadowing, I got to understand certain things. If you open this playbook, what would the first chapter be for a student to land offers at Cisco, Tesla, IBM? What would you write on the first chapter?
I would say the first thing for a student would be, don't be afraid of failure. And I know that this has been said so many times. Everyone says it, but I feel like you need to consistently remind yourself, because when you're met with a situation, and it'll happen from time to time. It happens in high school. It'll happen in university. It'll happen as an adult. Even if you have decades of experience, it's going to happen again. But actually two things. One is don't be afraid of failure. So if something happens, because something, and I'm going to say this on behalf of all Gen Zs, is that when they get embarrassed, they get very embarrassed. Or when they mess something up, they get very nervous about it. It's okay. I don't want to say just put it past you. This is where the grit and resilience comes in. You have to move forward no matter what. And as many times as you fail, you still need to get back up and keep going. Just keep telling and convincing yourself, reminding yourself that it's okay to fail. A lot of the folks that you see have all failed. You can't tell me a single person had a perfect life and they didn't fail once. That's not possible. So it's okay. The only one who'll really remember that is you. So just try to move past it if you can, but really just keep going forward. Just only look forward and that's it. Learn from mistakes, but keep going forward. That's the most important thing. The second one is to always be willing to learn. Always be willing to learn as much as you can. And the reason I say this, again, going back, no matter what age someone is, even if it's decades later, I was reading a book about this. Someone who is almost 70 and they're a master in pottery. I can't remember the name now, but they're a master in pottery. And they still tried to learn as much as they could from others, people who are even younger than them. It really shows that when you're willing to learn, one, people are always willing to help you learn. And then second, at the same time, you're learning new knowledge. So being willing to learn is also a very important thing. And it's going to help you grow your different skill sets, grow as a person, etc. So I would say those are the two most important things in the first chapter.
This is amazing. I cannot agree enough. I feel that the willingness to learn is what makes the difference in a career. That when you get a degree, people assume that it's the end of the thirst for knowledge. But no, it is not. Actually, it is where your thirst for knowledge should be at its peak. So that I really got to, because now I recruit people, and I believe so are you. When I see the people who are really hunger for knowledge, to learn, and it comes back to your first point, that are not afraid to fail because they will learn tremendously from each of those mistakes, I tell myself those are brilliant material for me to hire. I don't know what you think about it. That's how I hire, actually, if I had to sum it up.
Yeah, no, like it's so true. It is very true. When I bring people, like for example at Max, when I bring people into the team, it's about, one, the passion. Passion is so important. Of course, everyone looks for passion, but at the same time, it's also willing to own up to mistakes and also willing to learn as well. These two are so important because one, it shows that you're growing, and then second, it shows that you are expanding. There's no perfection. There's no, okay, I'm a master and that is it. There's no such thing as that happening. Everyone, no matter what stage they are, there's always so much you can learn. There's a lot you can learn. And so one, being able to keep your mind open to a lot of different things, a lot of new ideas, skill sets. It's just at the same time, even in tech, you talk about this too, you have to adapt to new skill sets. AI came out. So you have to adapt and learn how to use AI tools if you want to stay, like for example, stay relevant in your role. So no matter what, you have to be open to new ideas, open to new things. Great point you mentioned.
This is amazing, Sarah. And actually, that feeling of not being fearful of mistakes is, I feel, what makes the strength of North America as a whole. As a European, this is what I bring to the show, a different perspective. And I feel that in France, Germany, and other Western European countries, I feel that there is a shaming culture a bit, that you are ashamed of your mistakes. And if you look at the history of capitalism, some of the biggest entrepreneurs in recent history are people who have failed, people who have been in MVP, in minimum viable products, which are completely like basic, insulting, full of mistakes, and they were not afraid to do that. So yeah, coming back to the young Muslims, I really see you as a huge person to inspire our brothers and sisters. And I wanted to ask you a question. What is the single biggest lie the corporate world today tells young Muslims about what it takes to get ahead?
Now this one, I don't want to say it's controversial because it depends on the person. I've heard the same thing that I'm about to share right now. It just depends on the person. Some might say you need to work hard. For example, there was a panel I was at. I can't recall which one it was now, but someone said you need to work hard, consistently work hard. Now, I don't know, maybe it has worked in the past, but I think working hard is the one thing that is not applicable, especially for young Muslims. And I think it's applicable to really everyone, every youth who's starting off in their role right now. The most important things that you need to do now, and everyone talks about it, it's building a network, but also being really very genuine too. Like building a genuine network of people who genuinely want to see your growth and help you succeed. And you also want to help them succeed too in whatever success looks like for them. But also at the same time, work smart, not hard. It's really that. It's learning the skill sets you need to use that'll help you advance. For example, I'm going to use AI because I talked about it earlier. Using the tools that can help automate work, because automation is a huge skill set that a lot of people see these days. So being able to automate the minuscule tasks so that you can focus on the more important things. Being visible is another important thing, I would say. It helps with networking, but being visible is very important. Knowing to advocate for your work because it is your work at the end of the day, right? You want to advocate for it and show that this is your passion projects, and you're putting it out there, showing people that you are very capable. So working hard and hoping someone notices is not enough. It's really about being visible, but still actively working on the projects that you want to succeed. At the same time, also networking. So that would be the most important thing as a young Muslim these days.
This is great, Sarah. Thank you very much. And actually, I was thinking while you were talking, sometimes we feel that we have to assimilate to succeed, and maybe like put certain values, put our identity backwards, put it behind in order to succeed. That is the image that is conveyed to us by media, external factors, and so on. I think you are the embodiment that it's not true. You are at IBM. Alhamdulillah, mashallah, you are killing it. You are a product manager at IBM. You work for Fortune 500 companies, and you still embrace your Muslim identity. And I feel that you are a testament for the youth to really embrace their identity even further. I don't know what you feel about this point, and what's your posture on that?
I would say my posture in terms of the values as a Muslim. It's important to, no matter what stage you are in your career, and actually I heard about this too as well, as I was having a conversation with someone who was on a panel, also a Muslim. They talked about never losing sight of your values, no matter what. And I know it's something where, as you mentioned, we're told we need to, I don't want to say play the game, but do specific things to help you succeed. But at the end of the day, and I'm going to bring back really Islam into this, because this is Muslim Game Changers, right?
Very good.
It's about trusting in Allah at the end of the day. And this is where the setbacks might happen from here and then. But knowing that, one, don't sacrifice your morals and values. Whether you're Muslim or not Muslim, you have already your values in place, and you don't want to sacrifice that for anyone, because that's what defines you as a person. And you don't want to let anything change that about you, because that's what makes you. One, there's trust in Allah that whatever good He has planned, whatever He's written, it's going to come find you, inshallah, one way or another. Even if it's on the other side of the mountain, it'll come and inshallah find you. But these are, I would say, one of the sacrifices too. Don't sacrifice your values. That's what makes you you. And
Very
inshallah,
good.
whatever success is, it will come.
Inshallah. Actually, high achievers, regardless of the company they work for, often we have so much things that we do for visibility. Sometimes, like, there are some hidden cracks that there are things that people do not see. The late nights, the fact that maybe you work like until 11 p.m., or the doubts that you might have at certain points in your career. These are things that the public, your relatives, your friends, sometimes they do not even see that. They only see the shining things, the thing with stresses and so on. Was there a point in your career where the pressure to perform led you to a moment of questioning yourself, maybe a burnout, maybe a failure? How did you feel about this moment in your life?
Oh, that's such a great question, because if anyone ever says, oh, burnout, I don't experience that, they're lying. That's not true. Like, it's all about balance, definitely, but I think a lot of people have to find that balance, and it's so different for every single person. For me, and being fully transparent is that, I have had that fatigue, and it comes out when you overwhelm yourself a lot with a lot of things. But then that's where I'm going to bring it up so many times, grit and resilience comes back in, because it's about finding that balance again. Okay, how can I make it work out for myself? How can I prioritize things? I was actually telling someone this because they were asking, how do you manage so many things at once? And this is so translatable to a lot of other things as well. It's to have a pyramid, or put it on a piece of paper and draw out a pyramid. And so you have the top of the pyramid, which is supposed to signify the most important thing. And then you have the base level of the pyramid. So set it out based on what's my top priorities. Like, these are very important in my life and in my goals. And then set it out to the other things, such as, okay, this is base 2. This is base 3. And this is the last thing. It's still like relatively important, but I'm just going to put at this level. So structuring it in that way is going to help you realize, oh, actually, I need to set aside a lot of time to this, and then it'll help you overall just balance what's really important. I'm not going to say anything in any sort of path is perfect, because there's no such thing as perfection in this world, but do the best you can to help balance it out for yourself.
This is great. Actually, you work as a full-time job at IBM, as far as I know, and you also, let's say, have a full-time other responsibility at MAX. We've talked about it in the previous episode. It was also a MAX volunteer. I love this organization. Do you see your work at MAX as a responsibility, a passion, or a debt that you owe to your community?
That's what I owe to my community at the end of the day. I owe it to the community. And that's the thing. It's always so deep rooted, like giving back, finding things that fulfill you, and also at the same time benefit the community. And every decision, everything you do as a person, it's always, especially as a Muslim, is how can I, one, make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala happy? How can I, two, make this so that it's better for the Ummah? And the GTA community, and inshallah growing, is, we have a strong Muslim community here, right? So how can we make the Ummah better in its own way? And then also at the same time, how can you make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala happy? If you can balance different things so that you're able to achieve both, that's amazing. And so through MAX, I would say it's not that it's like a passion. It feels more like I want to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala happy, and this is how I can do that, and this is how I can help my brothers and sisters in Islam, whether it's through finding a job that can help them grow in their career, or maybe they're a lot more senior and they want to be able to network with other people. No matter what stage, inshallah, you can find a way to give back and help your brothers and sisters in Islam.
For people who are extremely, this is a question that I'm also asking you. For myself, to progress in life, for people who already have a full-time job, who tell themselves, oh man, I do so much, can I really take a volunteering task aside? Can I do this? What advice would you give to that person, maybe on how they can manage their time better? Or how do you do it? What tips can you give to people which can even be your age or even older?
It's a good question. It's one I actually get asked quite a bit. Is the one most important thing is, again, it's the pyramid. How important is this for you? Maybe it's the cause. Maybe you need a specific cause that resonates to you a lot more. Like people who start their own charities, like they have a specific cause that resonates to them. And what's also the intention for joining whatever that organization might be? Like it needs to be something where you genuinely want to give back to the community, or you genuinely want to provide something to them. So just first ask, is this something that I see myself staying in long term? That's the first most important thing. And then second, if it's really about time management, I would say again, like for example, I have to do my full-time job. That's a given. I still need to do my job. But then at the same time, where can I find other areas in my week where I can fit MAX in? And usually that looks like the evenings or nights, or maybe on the weekends. And it's always like finding what fits best in your schedule. Maybe for some people, for example, they say often, on Sundays, this is just me time. Like I want to spend Sundays just for me. So then maybe Saturdays is a good time to fit it. Not the entire day, of course, but just finding optimal times where it just works out. If it's really a time management issue, then you can just work around that.
This is brilliant. Sarah, my sister Sarah, I actually brought something.
Oh my
Little
goodness.
Suspense. It's a picture that I saw on LinkedIn. I'll let you take a look at this. If we look at the room, the energy, the people, the purpose behind it, what is the single biggest problem you are trying to solve for the sisters in the room?
Oh, looking at the photo, oh my gosh, it just reminds me of the moment. So this was last year in the summer, and it was amazing bringing together so many women in a room. Women who want to achieve leadership positions, inshallah. What we wanted to achieve, and this is not just what we're trying to achieve with this event, but also over time in the future as well, continuously, is to help build a network of Muslim women within the community. Again, it's not just for Muslim women, it's for all Muslims. That's really what we want to do as a core for MAX. For this event, it was about understanding the different things in life that make a person her. The reason I say her is because the event was called The Art of Becoming Her. So the different things, and I mean struggles, the positive things, the things you don't see behind closed doors, stories that you won't see on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn, it's just a bunch of positive things, right?
Yeah.
You won't see the things behind closed doors, and that's what we wanted this to be, and a lot of other events as well, to show that it's okay to fail. You don't have to be perfect. You just need to be consistent in getting up there. Consistency is key at the end of the day. And so that's what we wanted to do through here, building a network, helping them build the confidence they need, helping them network so that if they help each other out, because that's what community is. You help each other out at the end of the day. Building ihsan in a Muslim setting. So that's what this is, and also the future of where we want to keep taking this.
These events, I think I was part of MAX. I know how much work, organization goes into this. It represents so much work. But I think the feeling, once you conclude this seminar, this lecture, however you want to call it, you feel a certain satisfaction of having given back, which is completely worth it for me. I don't know how you feel about that. How did you feel after concluding the event?
After the event, it felt absolutely surreal. It's like, I'm going to give an example, like when you cook a dish for your family, or I don't know, you make something, whether it's tea, whatever it is, and then you see the smile on everyone's faces. It's that happiness you feel that you're able to bring someone joy. And actually, there's off topic, but there is actually talk about this, which was about the act of bringing joy, like the act of giving charity, which is so important for us as Muslims, to bring others joy, to help them out. So in a way, it's like that. After the event, I had some of the Muslim girls come up to me and they said, "Thank you so much for creating this. I didn't know this ever existed." I was able to connect, like on LinkedIn, I'm sure other platforms, with amazing other professional Muslim women that are looking to excel in their career. And then even just connecting with the amazing panelists too. There are amazing people. And so it's just that rush as well that you get as well, to see that, mashallah, you bring hundreds of Muslims together in a room. And this is exactly what Allah loves too. You bring Muslims together for a greater cause. So it was amazing.
Sarah, the next event, do you know? I'm not even aware. This event, I believe, was called The Art of Becoming Her.
It was, yeah.
Do you know if there will be a next one? Our sister will be listening, so I will put any link, any precise date and everything in the description of the episode. But do you know if there will be such an initiative in the future?
I appreciate the plug. I would say, actually, the upcoming event we have is International Women's Day. So we're kicking 2026 off with a bang. And we're going to be holding it on March 27, actually in Toronto. But for those that are based in Montreal or Calgary, they shouldn't be sad, because it's also coming to their cities as well.
Incredible. So yeah, I will leave all the links in this description. I think it's very important. It's those types of opportunities that I really encourage our sisters to go to, because it's something incredible. It's really affordable. I think Max does a lot on that. And I think a portion of a lot of the events organized by Max goes into scholarships and so on. It's a virtual circle that we need to encourage and push forward. Coming back on the faith, I actually wanted to ask you a question. Has your ambition, I think you are an ambitious individual and you encourage people to be ambitious, has your ambition ever tested your faith, and maybe a moment where you felt you needed to pull back?
You know what? Yeah, there's one thing about the test is they're all tests from Allah at the end of the day. So we have to make sure we pass as many of the tests as we can. But being fully transparent, yes, there were times where, for example, I think one thing that's, I'm sure a lot of Muslims can really attest to is, especially when you have, it's winter time, and that means shorter period of time where you can go and pray. And so now you have a meeting scheduled near Maghrib time, and you gotta find a way to pray Maghrib. But then you have meetings stacked. So that's one of the things everyone deals with on a daily basis. And really it's all about, at the end of the day, knowing that everything that has been provided to us, going back to Islam, is that everything has been provided to us by Allah at the end of the day. So showing that course, showing that gratitude and never forgetting who put you in the position that you're in today. MashaAllah, a lot of people have worked so hard to where they need to where they are right now and where they're heading towards, inshallah. But remembering that Allah was the one who provided everything, the placement that you're in, the job that you're in, the opportunity that you got. Alhamdulillah, glory be to Allah for everything. It's more of a reminder for us all that it's all about going back to Allah, the one who gave everything, really.
Absolutely right. Actually, I will share something with you. It's that when sometimes I have a hard day at work, I try to remember the periods of my time, because I was born in a ghetto in France, a very poor city in France. I try to remember those times. Or for instance, I go on YouTube and I try to type a country in the Muslim world where things are not going well, and I tell myself, do I have the right to complain? No, I do not. Actually, my job is just something that is going perfect in comparison. So yeah, I think that reminder of trying to remember the challenges you've been through, but also because we are ummatic in our sense of perception, we have to remember the struggle of others and, rational our struggles, that maybe they are really small in comparison with the bigger picture. I wanted to also talk about something. I was really impressed because I didn't know you before. I was really impressed when I saw on LinkedIn all the things you go through. I was really inspired. This is how I got to know you. That I told myself I have to have the sister in the show. I see a series of wins all over the place. What is the unwritten story of Sara Hosseini? The struggle that people don't see. When you go on LinkedIn, they don't see who you have become today.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I would say the untold story, and not a lot of people actually know this, but I'm going to go back to before I even went into Waterloo for software engineering. There was a comment where being a woman going into STEM or in tech, it wasn't as common back when I was going into university. So one comment was, you got in because they had to fill a quota for females. And, it stuck with me for a bit, especially going back into the, for example, imposter syndrome that is felt. Do I deserve to be in this room? There's so many smart people in my class, so many smart people who have achieved great things. And you're coming in and it's as if, all of your accomplishments, you completely forget about it. Mm-hmm. And you're just looking at, wow, wonderful people that are just in the room, in your class. And during that time, especially in the beginning, this was my first semester, I felt like I had to consistently prove prove to others that I deserve to be in the room. And things such as, because it was first semester, it was all about grades, it was all about exams, etc. And whether you were able to get that California offer for your first internship. So there's a lot of different things. Having to consistently work hard and then prove that, I need to show everyone that I deserve to be in this room. And I feel like a lot of the ladies in the audience can really, and I'm sure the guys too, can really test this, because imposter syndrome, everyone feels that they come in, do I deserve to be in here? And then you have to maybe feel like you have to put a facade or some kind of mask on so that you feel like you belong. But the important thing that you learn from that, and it's not just in university, it's no matter where you go, knowing that you don't have to prove to anyone. Just remember the accomplishments first, mashallah, that you have achieved. And also having that openness to learn, because you can learn so many amazing things from some of the people in the room. After you build that confidence over time, it takes time. It really depends on the person. It takes time. And eventually realizing that, alhamdulillah, I'm here for a reason. God put me here for a reason. And then over time, build that confidence, build that skill set, and continue to excel in whatever you need to excel in. You make amazing friends. I was able to make some amazing friends from that. And you won't get the perfect thing the first time as well, is another thing. There's actually a saying in our class. It was called Cali or bust for the first internship, which meant that you have to get California for your first internship. If you don't, then bust. There's the bust. But the thing is that it's not common for a first year to get California. So there's another thing that made a lot of people feel imposter syndrome. But guess what? All of the people that were messaging me, and even for myself, oh, why haven't I got California yet? And then you build experience, because everyone else, you need to build experience. You need to learn. And then eventually you get it. You keep working hard consistently, and inshallah, it'll come. It's all about patience too. That's another thing. Because some things actually do take time. It doesn't happen overnight. I know there are a lot of lessons I packed in there, but it was, mashallah, I would say a huge learning experience.
First of all, thank you so much for sharing this into the podcast. I'm really so grateful that you would share an anecdote like this in the podcast. I'm sorry also that such a thing happened to you, but at the same time, I'm actually glad it happened. Why? Because look at you now. Alhamdulillah, it gave you like an energy and motivation to prove them wrong, which is unbelievable. And now with hindsight, you can look back at this moment with pride, telling yourself that this person was entirely wrong. And the very important thing is that the sisters also learn from that, because maybe they will be subject to such comments, even if the situation has evolved. It's that there will be validation from others at all points, all stages of your life. Rely on validation from the creator. That is the most important. And then on a second level from your parents and so on. But that is the most important validation. Others will have different expectation, and I think it's not even worth it. I think just rely on the creator's expectation, validation, and you will be a winner like you in life. Actually, this brings me to my next question. What are the 3 steps that you would say to a 20-year-old sister in STEM for her to reach this level of impact that you're having currently?
One thing that, alhamdulillah, I'm glad to see now is that there's a huge balance between how many females there are in STEM roles as well as male. Back when I started out, I was one of the 20% in a class that was basically full of men. But I would say it's changed a lot now, mashallah, which is great.
Alhamdulillah.
And one thing I would say to a lot of them is to, one, don't be afraid to try out new things and to put yourself in an uncomfortable position. It's something I hear often where they would say maybe they're shy, or it's a new space for them. Or that one thing I hear often, imposter syndrome, feeling that imposter syndrome. Do I deserve to be in this room? Or do I deserve to be here? Everyone seems so smart. And I'm saying this also based on personal experience, where you come in and you hear all of these people come in. And I'll tell you, when I first went into class, I hear about some people who they interned at a huge bank. We just started university, which means they did it in the past. Or they won multiple hackathons, or a huge computer science test, they got a huge score. And so you hear things like that and it makes you think, do I deserve to be in this room? And that's where the mindset needs to change, because you're in that room for a reason, mashallah, first and foremost. And you need to remember the accomplishments that you did to get to where you are today. So a 20-year-old, I'm sure at that point, maybe she'll have a couple of internships or has done a few projects. So look back in high school, all the projects you did, the internships that you've done, the projects that you were doing, and the amazing scores you must be getting in university. All of these different things, reflect back, because you're not comparing yourself to other people in the classroom. You're comparing yourself to your past self. Can you look back at your past self and say, wow, I grew so much? The moment you can do, that's when, mashallah, you've been improving so much. You're only competing against yourself. Don't compete against other people. You deserve to be in the room that you're in. So inshallah, stand up high and say alhamdulillah, because Allah has put you in that room.
Sisters, this is the inspiration that you would get if you attended the Art of Becoming Her or International Women's Day on March. So be sure to be there. Actually, before we move further, I I wanted to present something because I was thinking in my head. We talked about several things during the podcast and during this conversation. We talked about two powerful paths. One of corporate excellence with IBM, alhamdulillah, mashallah for you, and one of community building with Max. When you look 10, 20 years from now, which one of these will have mattered more, IBM or Max?
Oh, this is a tough question.
That's what we're all about.
I would say 20 years down the line, the most important thing would be the work that I've done at Max. Really, that's the most important thing. I'm sorry to the IBMers that are watching this. I really am. I love like my coworkers and the projects that we're working on. It's great. It's amazing. I learned so much from them. They're fantastic. Fantastic to work with. If I had to go back to values and what's important, this is Muslim Game Changers.
Right?
It's about how can we make Muslims better. So it has to be Max all the way.
It was a tough one, so really thank you for your honesty. I'm not saying you know what I was expecting? I was expecting both. So I'm really glad that you went ahead with your choice. Thank you very much. Actually, we've talked about 10 years from now, 20 years from now. I'll go even further than that. Then, Allahu A'lam, we might die tomorrow, we might die going back home. We don't know. Allahu A'lam. At the end of your life, what is one single metric that determines if the whole journey of Sara Hosseini was a success?
So I'd say success, it really is different for each person. It's funny because I remember we actually did an event on this, the meaning, what is the meaning of success? Because different people, it's also different. For some folks, it's growing in their career. For others, it's building a community. For others, it's family. It always depends on the value. What are your values and what's most important to you? I would say the most important success metric so I can reflect back on my life and know that I've done the most that I could is when I can look at my family and friends and know that, and even my community too, is know that I was able to like provide for them and I'm able to help them, support them with whatever they need. Maybe it's their passion, maybe it's financially, but whatever it might be, knowing that I can look back and say, alhamdulillah, I was able to help my community. That would be the most important thing. I was able to help my family. Family is the most important thing. So being able to give back to others, help others, I would say if I was able to make that difference, then I can say, alhamdulillah, I made first Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala happy.
Very beautiful answer. I really love that answer. Actually, this question, I really love this question. I know it's a hard one. Do you want to know my answer? Are you curious about my answer?
Yeah,
it's a very short one.
Yeah.
Because, I really think at the same time that you're responding, what would be my answer to this? I didn't even know before asking you. I think it would be the number of people on my deathbed to see, because people which would have really loved you would be there at this moment. And that would be my metric. I'm a metric guy also, so yeah. So yeah, it was a very beautiful way to conclude this conversation, I believe. And throughout this whole conversation, the idea of this new season was to deconstruct how to get from one point to another. That's why we introduced the playbook. And I believe now the youth, hopefully, but also mid-senior professionals, people like me who got very inspired by this conversation, we have the elements we need. So the question is, what are you going to build?